The music ministry of David Trolley. David, thank you. That was beautiful. That was just beautiful. Thank you. Walk on. It's the truth, too. As Reverend Lily's going to tell us, our speaker today is Reverend Lily Sandberg. She, her, is born and bred Unity. Growing up, she served as a regional officer for the Youth of Unity program and returned after graduation to create weekend retreats for Uniteens. She graduated from the University of New Mexico in 2018 with a BA in Religious Studies and a BA in Sociology. She is a recently ordained Unity minister from Unity Worldwide Spiritual Institute. Her mission is to continue pushing the Unity movement forward in new and creative ways, making space for all of us to remember and live from our inherent goodness to make lasting change in the world. She currently lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and she is excited to be with our spiritual community. So please help me welcome this morning our guest speaker, Reverend Lily Sandberg. Good morning, Reverend Lily.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. It's always funny, like what you get in a bio about like, what did I write? Who am I showing up as today? But that does a pretty good job explaining who I am. I did grow up in Unity. It's the biggest blessing I was ever given. And so when I speak, there is this underpin of having Unity as my foundation for all 26 years that I have lived on this earth. So sometimes I may say things that might scratch your head. And those are the things I hope you remember, because those are the things that make us say, I don't know if that's how I see Unity. But the cool thing about Unity is it's all welcomed here. It's a spiritual path where we are walking each other home, as Ram Dass says. And one of the ways we get to do that is by showing up as our authentic selves. So as I said in meditation, and I want to say it again, wherever you are, however you are feeling, whatever is alive for you today is welcome here. Church is not a place where I sugarcoat things. Church is not a place where we need to always be positive. Church is not a place where we do anything alone. So wherever you are, I'm grateful that you are here, and I am so glad to be here. Today, we are talking about hope with teeth. And I was looking back, figuring out what in the world was the topic I sent Reverend Rich? What am I supposed to be learning about for myself and living through? Because that's what happens when you write a talk. If you've never done this process, you come up maybe months in advance with this topic that, oh, it's snappy. Oh, that sounds good. And then when you get into the reading and the writing and the piecing together, all of your stuff comes up too. And so as I was preparing for this, I said to myself, now why in the world would I have picked hope? I don't know much about hope. And when I really started diving in, I realized that hope is kind of the stepchild in Unity. We talk about faith a lot, but hope is kind of second fiddle sometimes. That we don't have a law, we don't have a principle, we don't have a 12 power that talks about hope in Unity. It's just kind of a given that we have. You know, we have one Sunday in Advent that's about hope. But other than that, I don't often hear about hope in Unity. And I think it's an interesting thing because for so much of the greater Christian world beyond Unity, hope is a very big deal. And so I wonder if it's just one of those things of Unity saying, well, we're Christian in some ways, but we're not all the way there. I wonder if hope kind of was the baby thrown out with that bathwater. Because even in the writings of the Fillmores, as I was looking up hope, trying to find the Unity underpin for hope, it's hardly there at all. You have to go to some of the unpublished writings of the Fillmores to even have hope be brought up in sentences. In no published work of Charles Fillmore is hope given more than a few sentences. And I just think it's fascinating because hope can be such a big thing. Hope in some ways can be a matter of life and death. Hope is something that we have made out to be something that we expect people to have, and we are shamed if we don't. And so how is that part of our spiritual practice in unity if we don't have that writing, but we're holding that expectation? And so hope with teeth for me came about. My best friend's mom has a saying, you have to show me your teeth. And she's talking about when you were taking all those family pictures and you'd want to just smile because you really didn't want to be there and you wouldn't show your teeth. So you have to show your teeth. And it's one of those things that we've kind of made that as the shorthand of give it with gusto, show up real, make it authentic. With teeth means that there is more to it than just a passive sense. With teeth means that there is something to grab onto. There's a little bit more of a bite to it. And spirituality for me means that there's a little bit of a bite to it when we're getting into the real stuff. So let's dive into some of the real stuff. From the revealing word, because I am a student, I look to my sources. Hope is defined as the expectation of good in the future. That it is something that we have made and want to be true in the future. And what I've realized, because what was coupled with hope in that definition is faith. And faith is defined as this certain knowledge that our good is happening right now, beyond time and space, with God. So if we're looking at the definition of hope as an expectation of good in the future, and faith getting to be partnered with God beyond time and space, happening now, it does feel like hope gets a little bit of a short change. But hope as the expectation of good in the future means that we know that good is possible and that good is present, that good is something we have made for us as humans, that hope connects us to a bigger concept of good that can be our reality in the future, but is not here now. Even this morning when we were talking, I hope it's going to rain or I hope it's not going to rain. I hope they show up for dinner. I hope they like me. That's what we use our hope to talk about. But what would it look like if we stepped beyond little definitions of hope? Hope is one of those things that I think can get a little airy-fairy, that it can be a little ethereal, that sometimes, like anything else that we use in our spiritual practice, can get out of whack. That all of our spiritual tools and principles, hope being one of them, needs to be in balance. What happens when we have too much hope? We start sounding a little nuts. We can be delusional. If you are hoping for something that there is no way on this plane, in this timeline, with the action you have taken is going to happen, that is out of balance hope. Just like on the flip side of the coin, if we have too little hope and we have truly gone to the depths of hopelessness, it is not only detrimental to the human spirit, but it is also one of those big concepts of life and death. And so a few weeks ago, at the beginning of September, was the National Week of Suicide Prevention. And one of the key factors of suicide prevention and community care is noticing when people have lost hope. That it is one of the telltale signs, if you talk to any psychologist, therapist, social worker, researcher, community care advocate, that hope, when it is lost, that is when you should panic. And so that is one of those things where when we talk about hope, it cannot just be hope when it's easy, hope when it's nice, hope when it's little. There is an author named Riley Arthur Cole. She publishes a book, and she has an Instagram page that I follow pretty regularly called Black Liturgies. She's a Black woman theologian who is young and is speaking to spirituality in the real moment. And her definition of hope is my favorite. She says, The truth is, my hope is mangled. It limps and creaks at night. You speak of hope like a white bird soaring. It is okay that my hope is a battered exhale, a bench with splintered wood. That when we are talking about hope with teeth, that is the hope that I am talking about. That even when it creaks at night and is a splintered bench, that is hope. That is that indwelling depth of future expectation that it will be better. It will be good. Because I think so often when we talk about hope, it sticks in the realm of just saying things. Sometimes there's not belief in our hope. Very often, I think that there is not action in our hope. And we know from our unity principles, particularly our fifth unity principle, that we must put our practices into action, that is how we can change the world. But one of the things that has confused me about hope for years and years and years is hope felt like something either you had or you didn't. And one of the pieces that has never quite made sense to me is how in the world do I get it if I don't have it? That there has been many a day when I am called the realist, sometimes even the pessimist, that I don't have enough hope, that I don't have enough faith. And my retort is, I think I have plenty of those. I'm just not feeling it and expressing it right now. Because even if we have it, we don't always express it. And so when I think about feeling like I don't have enough hope and not knowing where to turn, that was because I was limiting how I was defining hope for myself. That hope was a feeling, when in reality, hope is a cognitive process. One of the modern day patron saints that I have adopted for myself is Brene Brown. And she is frequently brought up in New Thought circles, but she is also brought up in many aspects of my life because I was raised by a pack of social workers. And so when I think about the convergence of New Thought and social work, Brene Brown is right there. And so in her book, Daring Greatly, Brene Brown says, hope isn't an emotion. It's a way of thinking or a cognitive process. Emotion plays a supporting role, but hope is really what we think. And so when I started diving into this concept, it gave me permission to say, it's not that I don't have hope. It's that I'm not thinking with hope. I'm not seeing hope. I'm not believing hope. I'm not acting with hope. That is the piece that unity has given me my entire life. In our third unity principle, if thoughts become things and thoughts create our reality, that if I think hope, hope can be my reality. But getting to there sometimes is tough. Brene Brown also says that hope is an aspect of struggle. And that sort of rubbed me a wrong way, because I think sometimes we say yes, but we think hope is only apparent in struggle. And so if we feel hope separate of a struggle, we lessen that feeling of hope. Hope is the essence of who we are, whether we are living it or not. Because showing up in goodness is hope. Looking in the world and seeing the glimmers of God is hope. Believing in miracles for health for ourselves and others and our world is big hope. But it is that process where we don't have to struggle to feel hope. But sometimes hope is the only way we get through struggle. It's one of those moments where Anne Lamott says, hope happens in the dark. That stubborn hope that if you show up and just try to do the right thing, then dawn will come. You wait and you watch and you work and you don't give up. That is what I am realizing is the hope I need. The hope that is stubborn. The hope that is tenacious. The hope that has teeth. Because when we talk about that hope, even in the pits of it all, it is still there. Even in the pain of it all, it is still there. But it is something that if you have in that moment, you hold on to. And just as we know that as we work our spiritual tools, the more we work them when we don't need them, the easier they come to us when we do. That I want us to begin starting to see and feel and believe in hope in a new way before we need to feel hope in a new way. And so I'd like to try that today. Hope, as defined in Daring Greatly by Brene Brown, talking through the work of Rick Schneider, says hope is the combination of I know where I need to go, I know how to get there, I am persistent, I can tolerate disappointment and try again, and I can do it. That is hope. Those are the keys from scientific research, looking at resilience, looking at hope, looking at defying our reality and making it greater. Those are our tools. And so I invite us to go through this process because each of us have something we are hoping for. And that is individual to us. And spirituality always works best when we make it personal and we make it practical. So for you right now, I invite you to think of what are you hoping for? And this can be something you've hoped for a long time. This can be a new hope. This can be something that just came to you when I asked that question. But I invite you to find whatever it is for you in this moment that you are hoping for, that you are hoping to bring hope with teeth to that future expectation of good. And I want you to ask yourself the question when you think about what you are hoping for, whether that is a relationship, financial abundance, a new living situation, a greater sense of healthiness and wholeness. Do you know where you need to go? And if that answer is yes, wonderful. And if that answer is not yet, be open to that answer. Because the first step in hope is knowing where you need to go. The second question, I know how to get there. If you know how to get to that thing that you are hoping for, excellent. And if it is still coming to you, still being known to you, I invite you to stay in that possibility. And we move on. Hope is knowing that you are persistent. That is not a question I am going to ask you. That is a truth that I am going to hold. Because believe it or not, to be alive in this world and still show up knowing that there are spiritual principles that can change this world through us means you are gosh darn persistent. It is one of the hallmarks of being human in a world that feels like a dumpster fire and still knowing that there is hope available. So that one's not a question. That one is holding that you are persistent. The fourth one is also a declaration of truth of who we are. But this one isn't always as easy. I can tolerate disappointment and try again. Because what that means in terms of hope is that it is a future expectation of good. So there may be a lot of muck that doesn't feel good until we get to that moment where our hope is realized. And we must continue to try again. And finally, in what we are holding for our own hope, the knowledge that I can do this. The knowledge knowing that if I am hoping for a world of peace, not only is peace possible, but I am a part of that peace. That if what I was hoping for is my own financial freedom, it is absolutely possible. That when we talk about hope as a cognitive process, we must be all in body, mind, and spirit. That Trinity means that we are not only thinking hope, we are feeling hope, and we are acting as if it is already happening. It is saying, I know where I want to go. I know how to get there. I am persistent. I can tolerate disappointment and try again. And I can do this. And it's not easy. Man, if it was easy, we wouldn't need hope, because it would mean that we would have all that we've already wanted. But the beautiful piece of our spiritual practice means that even though it is not easy, it is possible. Now turn to the earth under your feet. The certainty you once had is gone. The community you once loved may not be there anymore. The hope you held dear is hard to find. Instead, what has taken up residence is the very stuff that seems counter to what you imagined. Disappointment, doubt, disillusionment, despair. In this new landscape, may you find may you practice the courage to find the others who make space for your questions without easy answers, who celebrate doubt when it makes room for more hope, who search high and low for a defiant hope born amidst despair. Bless you, dear one. You who do not give up wrestling, who have eyes to see that something new is being rebuilt on top of what was. Blessed are you who walk away wounded, yes, but changed. And so as we move forward in a week full of hope with teeth, of defiant hope, may you know that you will be changed, and maybe for the good. Thank you.